Hey guys, today we are going to be converting a WordPress website into a static website that can be hosted on S3. So why would we do this? The advantages are it is a much lower cost. Hosting on S3 gives you the ability to store a large amount of data at a very low cost. You're only paying for what you use in S3 rather than paying for an entire overhead of a server that you're going to host your site on. Also, availability. Hosting on S3 gives you 99.99% availability that will protect your data. It's going to be incredibly rare that your site ever goes down. There are replicas that Amazon uses within the same availability zone. So if one of their sites goes down, your data is going to get served from one of the other sites within that availability zone. Also, security. So we're no longer going to have a public-facing WordPress administrator page. Nobody's going to even have the opportunity to try and use any of the number of exploits that keep popping up to get into your WordPress, or even have a chance to try to brute force your WordPress login and figure out your username and password. It's going to be incredibly secure. Data stored in Amazon is secured by default because only the owner and bucket have access to the Amazon S3 resources. Finally, this static site is going to run so much faster than the WordPress that you have set up currently. No longer is it going to have to query a database, and unless you have already an incredibly fast web server, this is going to run much faster on S3. You can also take advantage of Content Delivery Network to have your files cached all over the world with CloudFront. So what are the disadvantages, you may ask? Well, this is going to be great for sites that are one and done. You created the site in WordPress. You're not going to need to administer it much. Everything is already there. It just needs to be out there on the internet. If you're hosting a blog or something along those lines that you're going to be creating posts frequently and updating frequently, this might not be as great of an option for you. Administration is going to be a little bit more difficult. Basically, we're going to be downloading a copy of the site and uploading it to an S3 bucket. Each time you want to change the site again in the future, you're going to have to go to a private WP admin site that you can keep on your server, download everything all over again, and upload it to S3. The live site is no longer going to be on the WordPress you are hosting where you would normally do the administration. Let's go ahead and get started with this. So a while ago, I created this WordPress page for my good friends at Do&Day Builds. Today we're going to be converting it into a static website to be hosted on S3. So to begin, let's go to Plugins and add New. And we are going to search for Simply Static. Go ahead and click Install Now. Once that finishes installing, go ahead and click Activate. So once that's installed and activated, you'll see Simply Static here on the sidebar. And just go ahead and go to Generate and click Generate Static Files. This is going to take a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and once it finishes, I will resume the video. So that is now finished. When it finishes, it's going to display all the files that it has exported, and you can go ahead and get a zip file with it. Just go ahead and click here to download. Okay, so next we're going to set up an S3 bucket to host this site. So we're going to go to Services, S3. Click Create Bucket. So you're going to want to give this bucket the name of the website that you are creating. So mysite.com, whatever your site may be. In my case, I'm creating duendebuilds.com. Choose your region if you want it in a specific region. This is the region I use that's set as default, so I'm going to leave that. You are going to want to uncheck block all public access. This is going to be a public bucket to allow people to access the file so that it can be used as a website. So go ahead and do that. Acknowledge the current settings. And create bucket. So go ahead and click on your new domain that you have built here. And go to properties. We're going to go over here to static website hosting and use this bucket to host a website. It's going to ask for your index document. I have one here, it's index.html. It's going to ask for your error document. I actually don't have one set up right now, but I'm going to go ahead and set that up after the fact. I'll just call that error.html and save. So next we're going to create a public bucket policy to allow access to the bucket. So click the permissions tab, go to bucket policy. I have a bucket policy prepared for this. I'm going to leave it in the description of the video. Just go ahead and paste that in. You will need to update the bucket name here from example bucket to the name of your bucket. And click save. So next we're going to go ahead and upload all our static files to the bucket. Go ahead to overview and get started. We can just drag and drop our files here. So here I have all the static files that I downloaded from the site. Just going to go ahead and grab all those, pop them in there. Next, I want to grant public read access to these objects so they can be read and used as a website. Click next. I'm going to go ahead and do the standard storage class for this and upload. That should take just a moment. And there we go. Now all our files are here in our S3 bucket. So now if we go to properties and we go to static website hosting here, this here will give us the endpoint URL for our site. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. And there we go. Here's my website. And I gotta say, this is loading a heck of a lot faster than it was when I had this hosted on my micro EC2 instance with a RDS database. So from here, you'll need to update DNS for your site to point to this new location. If you want to go ahead and update DNS. If you use Route 53 for your DNS, that's pretty easy to do also. Let's go to Route 53 and go to hosted zones. Now, if you don't already have a hosted zone for your WordPress, obviously you're going to go ahead and create hosted zone. In my case, I already have a hosted zone. This site was previously pointing to the WordPress hosted on one of my EC2 instances. I'm going to go ahead and change the site to instead be hosted on the S3 bucket. So I'm going to go to duendebuilds.com. I'm going to go to the A record here and change this to an alias. And I am going to point it to the S3 website endpoint for duendebuilds.com. I'm going to save that. And when you're done with that, you should be able to resolve the site in a browser, and there's our site. So that's it for today. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and have a great day.